Arizona boycotts. Now, earlier today, the L.A. City Council voted to cut some business ties with the state. In addition, you may be aware that the Lakers are about to take on the Phoenix Suns in the NBA playoffs. And one L.A. Council member had this message for Laker fans, quote, "If you go, we are hoping you take your own snacks and you won't buy things in Arizona." Here with his take on all of this is somebody who I'm sure is rooting for the Suns in that series. He is the senior senator from the great state of Arizona, John McCain. Senator, welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back with you, Sean.
All right, first, let's respond to that history teacher at an L.A. high school saying what he was saying.
Well, again, if it was said at a Tea Party, you can imagine the wave of outrage that would have overwhelmed the, quote, mainstream media in America. But, you know, part of this is the outrageous statement that the President of the United States made when he said you can't take your child out for a ice cream cone, I believe it was, without being stopped and asked for your identification. And that is simply false. That is totally falsifying the law passed in Arizona, which calls for reasonable suspicion, both whether someone should be stopped or not, and once they're stopped, reasonable suspicion as to whether they're in the country illegally, and it specifically outlaws racial profiling. So for the president to make the statement that he did and joked about it, as you know, at the Correspondents' Dinner, I think is partially what brings on a lot of the things that are being said afterwards.
All right, so this is the President of the United States of America. I mean, did he speak out of ignorance, or is he purposefully trying to misrepresent the law for political points? It's either one or the other, and I don't know which is worse.
I have no idea, but I know it's outrageous for a President of the United States to portray a law passed in a state without and falsifying exactly what that law says, especially when it has to do with a racial issue, which obviously ignites things. Look, Arizona is under siege in many respects. We have broken borders. We have people flooding across. We have drug cartels inflicting incredible damage. We have Phoenix, Arizona, is the kidnapping capital of the world, second only to Mexico City. And the legislature and the governor acted out of frustration because the federal government will not fulfill its responsibilities. I have said for years we have to secure the borders. We have to get the National Guard down there. We can have to build a fence, which I've said for years. We have to use surveillance, and we have to have additional troops down there to start with, the National Guard, and then 3,000 additional Border Patrol.
Now, I read the CNS piece that you're talking about with my friend Terry Jeffries, where he did point out that Phoenix is the kidnapping capital in America. Now you've got the L.A. City Council. I mean, they're talking about millions of dollars now. They're calling. There's one city after another now calling for a boycott of your home state. This is going to have a dramatic impact on people, on their ability to make a living if this takes hold. I mean, I think it's going to impact 8.8 million to start, maybe $50 million a year. What is your message back to the L.A. City Council and other municipalities that may want to do this?
My message back to the L.A. City Council is please direct your anger at the federal government, which has not secured your borders either. And please know that if you harm the economy of Arizona, particularly as far as tourism and the hotel business is concerned, you will be hurting a lot of Hispanic citizens who work in that business, who are hardworking people and industrious and citizens. And so you can inflict harm if you do that. Third of all, please read the law. Please read the law as it is written, which prohibits racial profiling, which, as I went through before, and help us get the federal government to secure our borders. And by the way, the brutality that is inflicted upon these illegal immigrants by the coyotes, and the majority of the illegal immigrants obviously are Hispanic, the brutality and the drop houses and the mistreatment and holding for ransom. I would hope that the LA City Council would join with us and say, we've got to stop this because of the terrible human rights abuses that are being inflicted, plus the drug cartels.
You and I found ourselves in disagreement over comprehensive immigration reform. I have always said we've got to control the borders first. I think we got to finish building that fence, which Janet Napolitano stopped. I think we need all the virtual help we can. I think we need more troops at the border. I've been down there 5 times. The Border Patrol agents do a great job. Are you now on the side that there should be no discussion of comprehensive immigration reform until the border is completely controlled?
In 2008, in the presidential campaign, I hate to take this trip down memory lane, I said we have to secure the borders first. Why am I saying that? In the last 3 years, the violence has escalated. 22,000 Mexican citizens have been murdered on the Mexico side of the border in these drug cartel wars. The drug cartels are an existential threat to the government of Mexico, and we knew that sooner or later that violence spills over onto our side of the border. A rancher murdered in Arizona, a deputy sheriff no way north of the border shot with an AK-47. The drug cartels are working with the human smugglers, and every nation has the obligation to secure its borders. If you don't secure the borders, then we're like a hamster in a wheel, and people will keep coming illegally. And finally, I'm going to remind you, back in the 1980s, under Ronald Reagan, we gave amnesty to 2 million people on the proviso we would secure the border. We gave the amnesty. We didn't secure the border.
Let me shift gears just a little bit here. And the president's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, Elena Kagan, her most notable act, as we know, is her effort to kick off military recruiters from a college campus, in this case Harvard. And by the way, she did this in the middle of a war, in violation of U.S. law, and even had the most liberal members of the court go against her when they put forth a ruling. Your reaction to her? Are you likely at this point to support, not support?
Well, I give the process a chance to work its way through, but I am still outraged. You know, the members of the ROTC at Harvard had to go to MIT to do their training. Now, here's a school, the Harvard Law School can produce all of our Supreme Court justices, but Harvard will not allow recruiters to help young men and women serve their country in uniform. And she called it a policy, but it wasn't a policy. It was a law. Don't ask, don't tell is a law.
That was signed by her president she worked for. Yeah.
Yes. And so she was encouraging, it seems to me, and I'll be glad to let her make her case, but it seems to me she was aiding and abetting violation of a law.
Yeah. Could this one issue be enough in your mind to disqualify her from the court?
Well, it would weigh heavily in my judgment, and I have to see how egregious it is, and all of this will come out in the next couple, 3 weeks, but I am deeply offended that a school that models itself as the finest in the nation, at least they claim that, would not allow recruiters to come on their campus and ROTC to be conducted on their campus.
All right. Senator? We'll be watching closely. In my mind, I think that would disqualify her, but it's going to be interesting to see her explanation on it. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah, could I just mention one other thing real quick?
Yes.
Over $1 trillion. Remember, Obamacare wasn't going to cost $1 trillion. Yeah. CBO comes out with it's over $1 trillion, and that's not counting the $300 billion doc fix. It's like Nancy Pelosi said, they have to pass it so we can find out what's in it.
Yeah, we found out. Yeah, the CBO is wrong. Medicare was 9 times what they projected. Thanks for being with us, Senator. And we have plenty more Hannity, and what a night we have.